Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? Thursday, day baseball. We've kind of been sticking to the same routine this year for the shorter day slates during the day. We'll just kind of rock members only free to the public. If you like these videos, click the thumbs up button. If you want them on a daily basis, become a member. We'd love to have you.
Let's get it.
So, first question for you. I'm seeing Austin Gomber starting and not John Gray. Are you seeing the same thing, or am I seeing stuff that's wrong on a different site?
Give me 1 second. I am seeing Austin Gomber.
Okay. So, it's not John Gray. It's Austin Gomber. It's what it seems like, at least. So,
yeah, I'm seeing Gomber. I don't know. DK oftentimes has this.
Okay.
Message.
Yeah, they got it right now. They switched it. So,
right,
okay.
Cool.
All I had to do was just click the old reset button. So, for me, for pitching today, I'm going to go with Garrett Cole and probably Tucker Davidson and take my chances with him. Well aware that could blow up in my face, and I don't like the other mid-tier pitching options, so I'm going to pay down to a kid having a nice year in the minors. He was all right his first start at this level. A lot of it's just about the price tag right here, though.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely a look for me. So is Gomber. Texas sucks. I think they get a ton of love. I love the leverage there.
Sure, I can get on board with that. I mean, that's I'm only now knowing that Gomber's starting for sure, and he's only $500 more as of right now. You know, I'm a fan's a stretch.
You're more of a fan than I am.
Yeah, I've talked positively about him this year. He's been all right. Numbers-wise, he's a guy who pitches in Coors Field for a bad team. There's no shame right here. Now, could he get blown up by Texas? Sure, anybody could get blown up, but I'm not looking to, I don't love the bats in the Coors Field game because they're two bad teams.
Yeah, I'm really looking at Gomber, actually.
Okay. If I do a 3-entry max, he'll get at least one appearance from me. I'll just run Cole through and through. I don't think he's guaranteed to go out and dominate today. He hasn't really been great lately, but I don't love the other pitching options, so I'll just ride with this horse.
I do think that you could conceivably just spend down on both guys if you want to load up on bats. Probably not what I do because I like to stack, but
well, I mean, if you really want to get Chris Owings in your lineup, right?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Did you tweet this to DK the other day? I think I saw that. Why? I don't understand why he's up here.
It's just, something seems off here, right? And yeah, something seems big time off there.
Even if he was off the IL, why is he more expensive than this Acuna kid that I heard is pretty good?
It makes no sense.
Okay. You got a place you like for bats today? I mean, it doesn't sound like you're vibing on Coors Field too much.
No, not really. I mean, I think those are like the popular offenses. I will say, give me the Colorado side over the Texas side. I think Colorado's expensive and gets a lot less love. They actually were decent last night. I know Tapia finally is hot right now. Josh Fuentes. Give me the Colorado side, actually. Not the Texas side, though.
Okay, I got you. I look at Fulte and Gomber as very comparable pitchers, right? And you're right, because of the price points of Colorado. And I only mean comparable as far as who they are as Major League Baseball pitchers right now. If Colorado's not going to get any love and Texas is getting all the love, seems like a pretty natural pivot to me.
Yeah, I think that Colorado will get love. I just don't think they'll get as much as Texas. So I guess that's probably the best way to say it.
Do you think Coors is overwhelming chalk today?
I imagine Coors and the Braves are chalk.
Okay. I was hoping you'd say the Braves would be a little bit lower on. I feel just as good about the Braves as I do the Coors offense, especially if you're just looking at the, Albies, Swanson, Acuna, kind of the righties that are good against lefties part of it. I don't think it's a lock, but Patrick Corbin is the opposite of impressive to me.
Yeah. My thing with the Braves is they're kind of like the Twins. They just haven't been that good.
You're not wrong. We love Freddie Freeman, and we know he's really good, but he hasn't been really good this year.
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. I don't know. I think the Braves do get love. I think those are the three teams that get love. That's just my opinion, though.
Okay. My favorite of the Braves guys is just going to be Ozzie Albies. I like the price point. I always like him better against lefties. He's starting to see the ball really well, and he's super affordable at $4,400.
Agreed.
So, and again, I've heard rumors that Ronald Acuna is good at baseball. If anybody wants to back me up on that, I think he's always in play.
Wait, let me check. Yeah, I can confirm those rumors.
You can confirm those rumors. Beautiful. Yeah, I hear this kid, he might have a future in this sport.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so outside of the Coors Field and then the Braves, I'm going to go with Tucker Davidson today, guys, but I also don't think you're crazy to like the Washington Nationals right here. Davidson was fine in his first start. He's having a great year down at AAA this year, but that doesn't always translate to the Major League Baseball level. If you feel like a young kid gets blown up today, I can get the argument for the Nationals, no doubt about it.
Yes, saw it with Manoah last night. I was on four stacks, Boston and New York, which were not good. New York was okay. And then Miami and the Dodgers were really good. So, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, the Dodgers were awesome. Unfortunately, I didn't really pair them together right, so it wasn't like a crush night. But it was still solid nonetheless. So we'll take it. And yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't know. I am for me again. Like Washington's in play, but Davidson's more in play for me because I do think Washington gets love. From
Okay.
people that don't use Davidson will use Washington bats. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong there. I know that they're not in the greatest spots on paper here, but I am again interested in the Yankees in Boston.
I knew you'd be interested in the Yankees today. I've been partnered up with you for long enough to know how you think. I'd assumed you'd have some Yankees interest today after another tight win yesterday. Side note, going back to the Dodgers, who I know you liked yesterday, I figured you were asleep because it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock your time, but I almost sent you this. Carlos Martinez, I noted they said 9-year veteran. His career ERA last night was raised by over .1 in his appearance, which is really hard to do as a 9-year veteran.
It's insanely hard to do. You want to know what his ERA was just from last night?
ERA last night had to be about 135.
Exactly, 135.
Yeah, I thought he gave up. I thought it was 2/3 of an inning he pitched. I couldn't remember if it was a third an inning or 2/3, but I thought it was 2/3.
He pitched 2/3. He got Bueller to bunt foul on a third strike on a third pitch. So he got him out there, and then Muncy lined out. I'm pretty sure.
Not a stellar performance by any stretch of the imagination. So as far as the Yankees go today, they're going up against Yarbrough, and Yarbrough's solid. He's not great, but he's a solid pitcher. However, on this slate, I can see why you have some interest. Stanton showed some signs yesterday, right? Single and a walk. I could see him with a big day against a lefty.
Yeah, Frazier looks good.
Frazier's basically free too, so.
Yeah, Urshela and Torres both look good. Urshela homered yesterday. Torres had a double-digit game. So I respect Yarbrough. So this is more about the Yankees than like wanting to pick on Yarbrough. But it's a 4-game slate, and I don't think the Yankees get much love here at all.
And I'm going to assume Garrett Cole's like 95% owned. So I think an interesting play would be playing him. Oh, Choi did not make the lineup today, which makes no sense.
What?
Don't ask me to explain. Sometimes I just look at some of the managers in baseball, and I've talked to you about this, like guys who have been in slumps all season, and then they finally break out and go like 4 for 4 with a home run, and then the manager sits them the next day. I'm like, dude, you got to ride that hot streak for another day. Maybe it was a planned day off, but baseball's an up and down sport. If a guy finally gets going, you got to run him back out the next day.
This makes no sense. Choi probably wasn't in the lineup last night unless he's hurt.
Maybe. And if anybody's wondering what we're talking about, like Garrett Cole's arguably the second best pitcher in baseball behind Jacob deGrom. You can make some arguments about some other guys, but hard not to put him up there. Choi is 8 for 12 off of him with 3 doubles and 3 home runs. Those have got to be the best numbers in baseball, and you don't put him in the lineup today. Interesting.
Right?
Makes me like Garrett Cole even more. Not that I wasn't going to play him to begin with, but
same.
Makes me like him a little bit more. All right, you mentioned it was the Boston bats you liked?
Yeah, I think both sides of this game are in play. Boston is, again, and this kind of played last night, they are cold. So you have to know that going in. Like, you're not rostering these guys because they're red hot. I mean, Kike Hernandez is like 0 for 25. I think they might have a funky lineup today, too. A bunch of these teams could.
For sure. Day games, always a little bit more likely. I will say this about Martin Perez. He's having a really nice year. And for a guy who gets absolutely shit on by the DFS industry left and right, I just want to say, bro, I recognize you're having a solid year. All that being said, the Astros bats are better than you. So while they're not where I'm going to go, the argument for him is legit.
Definitely. Kind of on the same note as Perez, though. Guy that I landed on because it's just the salary fit and didn't like Manoah. I have been so impressed with Nick Pivetta. I watched a ton of his start last night. This guy's a legit horse. Like, he's not an ace, but he's a horse. He went back out in the 7th last night, over 105 pitches. I mean, he was in major trouble throughout the entire game. Got like 9 Ks against the Astros. And this isn't the first time I've seen a performance like that this year from him, where it's not like spectacular from a DFS or real life perspective, but like he's a horse, and I really respect him as a pitcher.
I'm glad to see you buying into Nick Pivetta a little bit. I think I've always been a little bit of a bigger fan than you are. So as is the case in DFS, there's going to be an up and down cycle of that stuff. Yeah, you're right. He's not an ace, but I like him.
I used to always kind of lump, him with like Mali and DeSclafani. Like, give me him over those guys right now all day.
Okay, I gotcha. As far as the bats in this game go, again, Renfroe, we brought him up yesterday. He didn't do anything spectacular, but he walked. He had a single. I think he can run right back there. And the same goes for Kyle Tucker. Started the game with 2 hits. I know he did not get one in his last at bat, but okay, that's all right. That's a 4 straight game with double digits, and he's just fine against lefties.
He's good against lefties. Yeah, I think both sides of this game are in play. You've still got the good guys, affordable, JD Martinez and Alvarez. I can see offense in this game. Both these
very
teams,
affordable.
It's the same point we said last night. Like, these teams are actually good, and they can make pitchers work, and they can get to bullpens, and on any given day, even in a worse matchup, they can outscore teams like Texas and Colorado.
Sure. Devers got going yesterday with 2 singles. Did you ever see what his ownership was? Because I don't know if we.
Oh, no, I didn't. But let me check. Yeah, we did kind of. Well, we didn't argue about it, but
discussed it. I think I said 15, and you said 5 to 10.
Yes. All right. Let me check. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Because it's funny. It's funny you said that Devers was 2.65% in the $18 tournament. So I swapped out because I just didn't love pitchers, so I kind of wanted to like not run the same pitchers throughout. So in this one lineup, I actually swapped Buehler and Urshela out for Manaya and Devers. Urshela had a big night. It was another one, like, I couldn't believe that actually outscored. The swap actually outscored because Manaya, he wasn't even that great from a real life perspective, but Seattle's so bad.
Yeah, they are. No doubt about it. All right. I mean, you mentioned it already. These offenses are actually good, and they're very affordable. I don't think it's like my top place to go. I do like Atlanta better, but I'm sure it's going to be lower owned.
Yeah, because like you have to I get that, because like, do you really want to put like your money on it, knowing like it's not the best spot on paper? I get that. I will say though, now looking at that Devers 2% ownership, it's not like they did anything last night to make people go there today. It's a 4-game slate, so they'll get more love, but I mean, I think they get left behind here too, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm assuming Coors Field will be insanely popular because it's a 4-game slate and it's Coors Field. The other side of that is I do think Atlanta gets some love as well.
Yes. The only thing is, like, I don't think people will pitch Odorizzi.
No. Well, I don't want to, yeah.
I think this game from both sides, I think the most owned from this game is Houston bats, but it's not high owned at all.
Probably not. So, look at the slate of pitchers. Obviously, Garrett Cole is just heads and shoulders above the rest of the slate. But the next 2 best pitchers are probably, arguably, Odorizzi, Perez. I guess Yarborough's right in that mix. Perez is better than the DFS industry gives him credit for. Now, he's not a great pitcher. Please don't get me wrong on that one. But he's more respectable than us DFSers are willing to admit.
I'll say, like, it does look like Davidson could come in as big chalk because, he looks basically the same as the rest of the guys, right? And he's 4.9K. That's how I look at it, at least. The only thing is, I don't know if you'll need the salary.
No, I don't like any other pitchers, though. That's where I kind of came up with him. I was looking at the slate for a while this morning.
I'm just kind of talking it out, like, where I think people will go. Not saying, like, you don't need the salary. Like, I don't know if people will go there because, like, Texas is probably really cheap again.
For me, like, I want Acuna in my lineup today. I kind of want maybe some Stanton and some Judge, which is where I might play Soto and Davidson.
In cash games, you have to lock in Acuna.
Sure, no arguments about that. And I don't ever play cash games anymore in baseball. It's just I don't even want to. But for those of you who do,
he'll be really high owned.
He generally is, and against a lefty like Corbin, hard to imagine he's not, right?
Yeah. It's very hard to imagine he's not for sure.
What kind of ownership do you think your boy Soto gets today, who's finally starting to play well?
Yeah, Davidson's a lefty, right?
Yep.
I'm not sure, man. It's funny. This slate is loaded with like good offenses and good players, except for the teams that are going to get a ton of love.
uh, I'm interested. Like again, I like Davidson, but you don't play Davidson looking for 30 points. Like he averages 14 because he's only started once, and that's what he got. Like I'm fine playing Soto and Davidson together.
My best lineup yesterday had Lamet in the day slate. Had Lamet. I used Lamet and Alzolay in all three of my lineups, but then in one of them I ran a couple San Diego hitters, and one of them I ran a couple Cubs, like with Arizona, and Rizzo and Baez. So Lamet was really, really good for that slate, considering how bad Peterson and Bumgarner were.
Yeah, hard not to beat those guys, right?
Right. And then Rizzo and Baez were like two of the better plays on the slate. So we talked about that on air, and it's hard to do that. But yesterday, and I'll say this, it will hardly make more sense than it did yesterday with only 2 games. Lamet like not pitching a full game. I thought it was a pretty easy call.
Hey, I just want to go out on a limb right here. Not even go out on a limb. I just want to say congratulations to me and you for both outscoring both of the pitchers in the Mets-Arizona game yesterday.
How pathetic was that? I mean, those guys were awful.
I mean, god awful. Bummy would have like -10, which is probably better than Peterson because they pulled Peterson before he could give up more runs, if I remember correctly. Either way, those guys were both pathetic.
Both of them together didn't equal to how bad Martinez was.
Oh man, yeah, that was one hell of a first inning by the Dodgers. All right, so just talking about the last game real briefly, and we'll let you guys get going with your day. A couple things to note. Obviously, Gomber's a lefty, so that's going to put the righties in a little bit of a better spot. Also means the lefties will be lower owned. So if you get a Joey Gallo, for example, in the lineup today, he's not going to be unowned by any stretch, but maybe his ownership goes down just a little bit. Folty has a tendency to give up lefty power. However, he used to be really good, and he's shown buying signs the last couple starts.
Yeah, this is definitely like either I'm full out stacking Colorado or I'm just avoiding it.
I get you on that one.
They're real expensive too. So like, if you play, it would either be me playing on that Folty's bad today, and you get to that bullpen, and Colorado's starting to turn it around, or I'm just like off it because I think these guys are too expensive to play as like just one-offs. You can, sure, but there's other guys in this price range I'd rather play as a one-off.
I got you. For me, like if I'm all in Atlanta, but I have an outfield spot and I got the money, like I don't mind playing a Tapia or something like that as a one-off. We only got 4 games to choose from, but I'm probably not going to stack these teams through and through. We've said the same thing throughout these series. Yes, the pitchers aren't great, but these offenses are trash. These are 2 of the worst offenses in baseball, and this could easily blow up in our face today, but I'm not trying to sell my soul for these offenses.
Same. You might have Matt Adams in there today too. Day game after night game, 2K.
Right.
And I definitely like the Colorado side more than the Texas side because of ownership. From Texas, I think the best play is probably Nick Solak though.
Got a lefty on the mound. Solak is good against lefties. Yeah, that works for me. Kiner Falefa is another guy I never mind. Yeah. I think he's a little bit of an underrated player. He's a solid professional hitter. He's not a great player, but Texas doesn't have great players, so he's one of their better hitters. Then, of course, our boy Garcia is always in play.
He's another guy that's probably a priority in cash games.
I would think so. Righty against the lefty, Coors Field. He's not quote-unquote hot right now, but he has matched it up a single the last couple games, so it's not like he's ice cold and striking out every at-bat.
For sure. And then watch for Chris Davis potentially being in the lineup. Pinch hit homer a couple days ago, and they're facing a lefty today. He could easily be in the lineup today. Just about to say one other guy, but I can't remember who it was.
All right, before we hang up, what gun to head? You're setting the lineup right now. You got one single entry GPP lineup. Who are your pitchers?
It's definitely going to be Cole.
Yeah, he's hard to get away from.
Yeah, and then, probably Davidson, because I think he easily could be the second highest scoring pitcher on the slate. And I never mind leaving a ton of salary on the board. A ton of salary. I just don't even look at it in baseball.
It's probably where I'm going to go with pitching, too. It's what I said in the beginning. The thing with Garrett Cole is I can get the argument why y'all might not think he's going to be great. He's been a little off lately. Like 4 of his last 5 starts hasn't gotten over 7 Ks. It's not the Garrett Cole that we've seen. One, that could flip today, any day, against a strikeout heavy Tampa Bay team. The other thing is, like, just take a look at his last start of 17 points. That could very likely still be the highest scoring starter on this slate. As you've mentioned multiple times, salary isn't a big thing. And don't forget, if he just gets back going and being the Coltrane today and he puts up 35, you have legit zero chance of winning without him.
Yeah, it's not even that salary isn't, it's not even a thing at all. So, like, I think if I liked Odorizzi even a little bit, I would play the most expensive pitchers. But I honestly think Davidson could be the second highest scoring pitcher.
That's where I got to him today. And I spent a while looking at his minor league numbers this morning because
he's not
hard to go ahead.
He's not a $4,900 pitcher. Go ahead.
No, I'm like, who are you else going to get excited about? Like, Odorizzi's had some moments at the professional level, but I don't want to pick on Boston. You don't expect him to go like deep into the game. He did throw 87 pitches last time, so he's not on a short leash, but it's not a great upside spot. Again, I've been really nice to Martin Perez today because I'm just trying to stick up for the poor man after the DFS industry's been shitting on him for the last 5 years. He's better than we talk about him, but I don't want to throw him against Houston.
No, me neither. I mean, for me, the other guy's Gomber.
Sure. And Yarborough's another one.
Yarborough a little bit.
Okay, but I'm kind of with you. Like, I've been talking about the Yankees a lot lately and how they're more name at this point than actual production through the year. But there is a vibe that gets implied to baseball. Coming off a couple of wins after really going through a rough patch, I'm not excited about picking on the Yankees today like I have been for the last couple of weeks.
Same.
So, this is one where I'm going to be on the Bellman side of things, that there's some positive momentum moving in their direction. They're starting to get their confidence back. I could see the Yankee stack taking it down today.
No Stanton in the lineup. And
oof, that doesn't make sense either.
Yeah, I know. Frazier's hitting 6th.
This is exactly what I'm talking about when, okay, I know he's coming off of an injury. Stanton is. But it's not like this guy's played 38 days in a row, all right? Like, you could DH him. There's a lefty on the mound. He's showing signs of getting going after being out of the lineup for like a week or whatever it's been. Like, why is he not in the lineup?
Yankees lineup's pretty weak.
All right, who is it? Never mind. I'll just reset it.
It just doesn't really. I mean, I still have some interest in a couple of their bats, but no Stanton, no Sanchez. I mean,
well, you can definitely. I like the idea for Clint Frazier that he's up in the lineup a little bit further, and the Torres Judge plays work for me. Urshela. I am such a DJ LeMahieu fan, but he has shown me nothing this year that gets me excited about rostering him at all. And I'm a big DJ LeMahieu guy. I got outbid on him in like all of my year-long drafts this year, like to the point that I was trying to overspend on him, and I kept getting overbid, so I let him go. It's probably the best decision that that happened to me, that I didn't overpay for him, because he's playing terrible this year.
Yeah, he's been awful. No power, no speed.
Yeah, not hitting for average either. This is a guy who's got to be in, a 310 career batting average, and what's he batting this year, 250?
Yeah.
Very disappointing.
Definitely it puts Yarborough kind of more in play for me.
I agree. It does.
I like Torres. I still like a couple other pieces, but.
And there's strikeouts to be had in this lineup. Brett Gardner looks washed.
Yeah,
Odor, lefty on lefty. He's good for a K or two.
Why is he in the lineup? Like, that makes no sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, Stanton and Sanchez are out, but Odor's hitting 5th. Come on.
I think anybody that knows me well enough at this point, like, I think you guys know I'm not a tough guy in real life, and I'm definitely not even an internet tough guy, but like, we are starting to coddle some of these athletes. Like, baseball players can't play 2 days in a row anymore.
Well, I just don't get Odor. Like, why he's become a mainstay in the middle of their lineup. I just don't get it.
Don't ask me for an explanation. I don't have one. He does suck. He does suck. You're right. He's not a good hitter. He has never really been a good hitter. He's got some power. He's got a little bit of speed, but like 196, like if that's what it is at the end of the year, I don't really expect it to go up.
Yeah, I agree.
He's just his K rate has got to be insane. I'm just assuming. I haven't looked at it, but I know he strikes out most of his at-bats.
Mm-hmm. And man, I'll say this, like, you talked about Washington. with Turner and Soto 1 and 3, they got a really cheap Josh Harrison hanging between them, so it's easy to make that work.
Absolutely. Why am I already blanking on who they're facing today?
Davidson.
I'm like, we were just talking about it. I like Tucker Davidson, and I'm completely with what we said earlier. That's probably who I'm going to use. But the more we talk this slate over, and the more I think about it, and the more we talk about him being chalk, I'm not going to lie. I don't think it's the best play on paper, but I'm starting to get more enticed by the Nationals simply as a low-owned stack against a young pitcher. He's a good young pitcher, so I know he has stuff, but we've seen good young pitchers. Your boy got blown up last night by the Marlins, as you keep saying.
Yeah, I just checked ownership quickly, and now it looks like, well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't look like Davidson's chalk because Cole's coming in very high, obviously.
Insane chalk, yeah.
And 40%, Austin Gomber. So it looks like he's kind of emerged as the guy because people are now like Texas sucks. Then you got some of the Texas bats. But as far as pitchers go, after Gomber, Odorizzi, and then Davidson.
Okay.
Odorizzi just because for two reasons. One, Boston hasn't been good recently, and salary is a non-issue, and people know his name at least.
I was just going to say there's some name recognition there. And Odorizzi's a solid pitcher, right? Like we try to give guys letter grades. You know, he's probably a C-plus guy right now, but we've seen him be as high as a B before on his, for season. So he's had some injuries, which, you can ride that wave a little bit. I don't really know who he is right now, but I'm not going to give him a good letter grade.
I agree.
So makes me offensively then, what are like ownership percentages looking at?
It's interesting that, Chris Davis, Acuna, and Trey Turner are the three highest owned projected hitters.
Okay.
A couple more Texas hitters, Nate Lowe, Gallo, and Adolis Garcia, but I don't see that. Nate Lowe is not going to be chalk like that against the lefty.
No, that's interesting because you can't Gomber in Texas won't both go chalk.
And I think, man, I'm a little bit torn now. I'm like, where that ownership goes. Because, I actually think it goes more towards Texas. People don't like using pitchers in cores, especially pitchers like Austin Gomber, even if they've had a couple good starts recently.
Yeah, he's still kind of a no-name. I know some DFSers are starting to learn who he is because he's been cheap and semi-productive, but he's still a no-name pitcher who's not going to have heavy name recognition.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you.
So I still think Tucker probably the second or third highest owned pitcher.
Yeah, I'm with you. Unfortunately, I'm with you.
So, all right, guys, take it for what it's worth. Wish you all the best of luck today, and we will see you guys for some basketball and whatnot a little bit later.
Thanks, guys.